Okay. All right, guys. Joining us, Michael Crawford, CEO, Hall of Fame Resort, ticker HOFV. We have it down there in your bottom left-hand corner. Again, that's HOFV. Mike, thanks for joining us on the Power Hour. Good to have you here.
Nice. Yeah, good to be here. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. And how's your Friday? Starting off, middle of, I don't know.
It's been a busy Friday. Earnings yesterday, lots of things going on, but lots of good stuff going on. So can't complain. I'd rather be busy than not. That's for sure.
Exactly, and you got some good price action on the stock today, up more than 9% at last check.
Yeah.
So I guess if getting us started for the audience out there, can you tell us a little bit about the company, and then we'll dig in a little deeper.
Yeah, sure. We're a sports and entertainment company powered by professional football. We have 3 business verticals, themed destination-based assets, the first of which we're creating here in Canton, Ohio, around the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the birthplace of professional football. Media, so we have great access to really exclusive intellectual property through our brand partnerships with the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the NFL Alumni Association, and others. And then gaming. I talked about yesterday our new fantasy league, our Hall of Fantasy League, as we've branded it. This is going to be a one-of-a-kind, really unique experience where you can back a franchise, just like an NFL team. So we're looking at gaming in multiple different ways. E-gaming, of course, is big. Sports betting, not yet legal in Ohio. We're hoping that will be the case this year. But those are the 3 areas of focus for us.
Okay, so let me try to repeat it back to you, and you'll find I'm the guy who slows everything down. I'm going backwards a little bit and just making sure I understand. But basically that you've got the Hall of Fame, and you guys are building assets around that. Like entertainment assets around that. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Creating a destination. I think, we've been referred to as the Disneyland for football, but, I spent 25 years with Disney and another 4 with Four Seasons hotels and resorts. And so we have a pretty powerful product. I mean, the NFL is the most watched and most profitable sports franchise league out there today, and people love their teams. So, we've got a lot of land here and we've started to build. We already built 250 million of assets that are operational, save for COVID last year, but boy, they're in high demand this year. And we've already got multiple events planned and booked, music concerts and women's football championships and all kinds of things going on here. So exciting year. And hopefully as we see the light at the end of the tunnel, we'll have a big year ahead of us.
All right, so I want to dig into that demand a little bit more. All right, but it was obviously, like you mentioned, we had the COVID year, not great for travel entertainment industry as a whole. How far out of that are we? Is demand getting near where you would expect to see it post COVID? We know that a lot of these stocks have been ripping, but I'd love to get your take as to where exactly we're at.
Well, I think we were fortunate enough to be a company that was building. Remember, we only went public last July. So we're still, we're like a football dynasty. You got to put a lot of pieces in place to have winning seasons. And if there's anything fortunate about not having several assets or our businesses stood up during COVID, is we didn't have to shut them down. And so I think, while the trend lines are looking very positive, we have our own hotel here in Ohio that we operate now. We opened late last year, Q4. The trend line for that in terms of occupancy and rate is headed in the right direction now. I mean, airlines, bookings are going up. Themed destination-based assets like Disney and other companies, they're starting to see, listen, there's a pent-up demand for this. People are social beings, right? And so I was encouraged listening to our governor here in Ohio talk about 30% occupancy in stadiums and arenas by April, and hopefully by the summer, 100%. And so that's thrilling for us to hear, because we do believe that, what we're seeing in demand for events and ticket sales and sporting events and other things that we're having here, bookings are really on the upward trend.
Okay, and I'm gonna take a step back then for a second. What's your favorite NFL team?
Well, I should say the team that I'm watching, because I should stay neutral and unbiased, but I grew up in Ohio. So I have to say that, I'm a Browns fan at heart.
There we go. All right.
Breathe it, living and breathing it. So I'll stay with the Browns for now.
All right. So I don't know how much of my background you can see, but I'm sort of geographically close to you here in downtown Detroit, Michigan.
Right.
As a lifelong Lions fan, it's the only sport that I care about are my Lions. And I feel like us and the Browns have some special connection of like, poor performance. I don't know. There's some bond there.
Yeah, well, look, I think the Browns and Detroit's making some changes as well. The Browns have got a really good nucleus now. And remember, this year, the NFL draft is being held in Cleveland. So we're looking forward to having some connection to that down here in Canton as well. And we have a relationship with the Browns. So it's an exciting time. I think their time is coming, and I'm looking forward to that.
Okay. And then I want to dig into something that you mentioned. So you said you spent 25 years at Disney. What were some of the roles or the highlights of the time at Disney? And then, what did you see there that led you to this business and this as a really interesting opportunity?
It's a good question. So I think Disney company has the thing that every company wishes they had, which is great intellectual property. They have stories upon stories upon stories. And when you have content, you have the ability to create experiences, unique experiences across multiple different business lines. And they do it very well. And they synergize. If they create a great movie, it's a Broadway show, it can be a ride, they sell merchandise. When you look at the power of professional football, the first thing I saw was content and intellectual property. The Pro Football Hall of Fame, the best that ever played the game are housed there. The NFL Alumni Association, great players, 25,000 plus. And you just get excited about that. When I was with Disney, I focused predominantly on the theme park and resort division. I grew it, helped run it in Japan. I grew it in China and Shanghai, had roles in Orlando and California. So I've had a lot of experience sort of dealing with big brands and thinking about how to extend those into different business verticals to monetize and synergize across all of our business units. And that's what I saw here.
Okay. And so, I'm imagining that like the gambling experience, right? The gaming experience is part of that extension. Is that a fair way to think about it?
Sure. Today in today's world, technology is really helping people have access to online betting, online gaming. And, it's not this thing that it was 20 years ago where you had to find a bookie and you had to do something sort of illegally. All states, are starting to talk about legalizing gambling, and there's many that already have, specifically sports betting. For me, fans it enhances the experience, right? Even when you were a kid, hey, I'll bet you $5 that guy misses the field goal, or $10 that they win this game. It was just a fun way to enhance the experience between you and your friends. People do it now, and I think as a sports and entertainment company, it's our responsibility to try to be in that space to allow them to have access to all the product that we have. And our fantasy league is a great example. The Hall of Fantasy League, where we are creating franchise teams. We're going to announce this March 30th, the 10 different locations for our teams. And these are real teams with front offices that may have a Hall of Famer or a famous NFL alum helping manage it. They'll have a draft. They'll do trades just like you do in fantasy. But the difference here is fans can actually back the team. And so just like the Cleveland Browns, I can stake a team. We did a deal with Stake Kings to allow that to happen. And I get a percentage of the winnings if the team wins in the championships. And so when you have teams that can play each other either on the field or virtually, people tend to want to bet on those games, and it makes it more interesting.
Okay, and like I mentioned up top, and I did this just so you'd be aware, but I am the slow down guy, right? So you just mentioned the fantasy component and the franchises. Can you take us fully through that product? What it means, what it is, how users interact with it, etc.
Sure. Well, I want to be careful because I don't want to steal all of our thunder that we're getting ready to release on the 30th. But we spent the good part of 20 creating the technology that's going to power this league that allows fans to be a part of a community that backs a team, that interacts with the front office of that team. You look at fan-controlled football now. It's an exciting, fun thing for fans to participate in. Really, if you think about the fantasy experiences out there, it's you and 5 of your buddies getting into the Yahoo League or the ESPN League, playing each other. And this allows you to now have these teams. And we've got fun names. We got fun brands and logos. We got a merchandise shop we're going to launch. It's just like the NFL model. And so, and a media experience, you know, when teams play each other, you want to see how they did. And so part of fantasy that's intimidating to people is you got to do it on your own. It takes time. You got to study. You got to think about players. This takes a lot of that out of the equation. And it allows it to just be fun, just like the NFL is, and cheer for teams and hear how they performed, and somebody else does the work for you. We have a mobile app and a website that we'll launch that will allow fans to interact, get the latest updates on their teams and other teams, hear from those franchise offices so that they get what they're thinking. And maybe they even use some of that knowledge to do their own league with their buddies if that's what they want to do. We don't think this is a thing that competes with Yahoo or ESPN. We think this is a white space that really does allow the novice, even if you will, to come in and play fantasy football and have fun.
That's awesome. And you know, so some of these comments you're reminding me, or you're saying remind me of Don Davis we had on yesterday. He's the founder of Pro Fighting League. And basically one of his big points was, you know, we asked about how did you decide to get into this market? And he's like, it's a massive market and there just isn't enough opportunity for people to participate with UFC only having 40 events a year. And what you're describing with this sort of fantasy experience seems similar to that.
It's a multi-billion-dollar industry that people love to play. And, you know, I've always been of the mindset that be where the fans are, where the guests are, and do things slightly differently, you know, bring a unique product and they'll come and they'll participate. And so I think I'm excited about it. I do think we have found a really niche opportunity in the fantasy space to launch. And so we'll launch it the 30th. You'll be able to back your team and see, you know, where these cities or locations are, and buy a hat or a T-shirt. And then throughout the year until the NFL season starts, we'll do a lot of activations and get people excited. We did a partnership with HQ Trivia. I don't know if you're familiar with the trivia.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Hundreds of thousands of people watch that live broadcast every night. Last year during the football season, we took over Thursday nights and we rebranded it Hall of Trivia. And we had Hall of Famers on there reading questions and interacting, and it was quite fun. We have the second season we're excited about doing this year. It was all about building communities and getting access to people who love to play games. These are gamers.
Yep. And that product I think will help me because, like we mentioned, I'm in Detroit, a big Lions fan, so I always have a bias to pick too many Lions. I don't win. So I'm excited for the new collective product. Interesting question out of the chat. Any plans for NFTs?
Sorry, I missed the question.
Yeah. It was any plan for NFTs, like these digital trading cards or assets that people can buy and sell and go back and forth on.
Yeah. So our team has had discussions about memorabilia. The online ability to own pieces of memorabilia. We haven't gotten quite into the trading cards just yet, but it is a business that is growing and something certainly we'll probably take a look at some point in time.
Awesome. All right. And then one last question for me. If you had to name one thing that you're most excited about, what would that be?
Well, I think it's being a part of a brand and a league that people have such passion about. When you have loyal fans that really want to, drive attendance to stadiums, spend money on their teams, it makes it very exciting to create experiences for them to enjoy outside of the stadiums. I heard an interesting fact. In people in their entire lives, only 7% of NFL fans will ever get to see an NFL game inside of a professional NFL stadium.
Wait, what percentage was it?
Only 7%.
All right, I'm wasting way too much money on these Lions games. Okay, keep going.
It's staggering. So when you think about that, and yet the popularity in buying NFL packages and on television and the merchandise and everything else, it's exciting to me to be a part of that and to really help extend that in ways where our guests and fans can enjoy new and unique experiences. Absolutely.
And then you teased us. You said that there's more details that are coming out on the 30th. Is that correct? Of this month?
For our fantasy league, for our Hall of Fantasy League, yeah, we'll announce the teams, the locations, the logos, our merchandise shop launches, our website. So we're really standing it up at that point in time. And I think it's going to be exciting for our fans. And who knows, we might have a few Hall of Famers be a part of this as well. So that can be very interesting.
All right. Who knows? So I guess, Mike, any final words of wisdom to leave us with? Anything else that we didn't touch on yet that we should definitely get out there?
Well, I think the thing that, for us is really compelling as a company is our ability to create experiences across those three verticals. We've got a lot of new media coming out. We signed a deal with Elite Holdings, the 10 guys to ever win a Heisman Trophy and be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. More people walking on the moon than that. We plan on producing a docuseries or a film around that, The Perfect 10. We've done a deal with the NFL Alumni Association. We run a developmental academy here every year. Last year was the first year. We sent 14 players into the NFL signing contracts. This is kind of like a brand new thing here in Canton, Ohio that is just starting to be known. And we have signed a deal with Sports Illustrated and 101 Studios to produce an original docuseries.
Okay, so yeah, okay, we got I think 4 people asked questions about that in the chat, so that might be a good place to dig into a little bit.
Yeah, so we were approached last year. I should say I had a conversation with Beasley Reese and Bart Oates, the 2 leaders of the NFL Alumni Association, and they had this idea, and Dean Dalton, who is the conceiver of the idea, the NFL has club teams that are sort of practice squads, but they don't have like the NBA or MLB does in terms of G leagues or the minor leagues. And yet 30% of the league goes on injured reserve every single year. So we did this partnership and funded a developmental league. We ran it last year here in Canton from September through December. Only 3 player positions because of COVID. So offensive, defensive linemen and running backs. And, we had a portal, the GMs and managers would go in, we would show them the progress. These kids were being trained. These were top undrafted free agents, by the way. These were from Clemson and Oklahoma. These were big time kids in college, just missing a little something. So they were being trained by former NFL head coaches, player position coaches, Hall of Famers, and they were here. And as they were getting trained and our team would give the scouting reports on a weekly basis to the NFL, the 32 NFL franchises. They'd get called up for tryouts. And so it's
really cool.
Of those 30 players that were here, a small year because of COVID, we sent we sent 14 of them up, of them signing contracts. This year, our goal is to have all player positions.
And does it work where you sort of are acting as like an agent at that point when they get called up, or how does that business work?
Well, we walk a very fine line because they do have agents.
Okay.
Acting more as a human resources department, if you will, for the NFL. That's kind of how I would position us. Giving exposure and training and development for these kids to realize their NFL dreams. And, we monetize that through when they go, a percentage of their contract, small percentage comes back to us. We monetize it through sponsorship. But it was so attractive that Sports Illustrated and 101 Studios said, hey, this is a fantastic opportunity for a docuseries like Hard Knocks or Last Chance U. And they were here last year filming, cool. And our goal is to have that on air this year. And our second season is going to be even bigger and better.
That's really cool. All right. Thank you for digging into that. We got several questions. I appreciate you taking the time there. And the other thing that I'll add too is that I'm 6 foot tall. I'm 180 pounds. I'm not very fast. I'm not really strong either. But if you have any NFL teams looking for somebody like that, let me know. I'd love to come train.
Well, if you can coach, we had a minority coaching program where we were developing coaches here. This year, we're bringing female coaches. If you're a good kicker, I don't know, maybe, something like that. But
I haven't tried it, but there's a first. You got to start somewhere.
Happy to help.
Okay, awesome. All right, Mike, I appreciate you hopping on with us. We'll let you go, guys. Again, the ticker, HOFV, Hotel Oscar Foxtrot Victor. Really interesting company. Definitely keep us posted. When that news comes out on the 30th, we'll make sure that we cover it here at the Benzinga desk and get it out to all the brokerages. But yeah, really neat firm. Thanks for coming on and hanging out today.
Thanks for having me, guys. Good to see you.
All right, take care.